Oh, all right. Hey there, YouTube. I think I've managed to do it and I am live. Let me know if you're able to hear and see me. I see you all there in the chat. Hello, hello. Welcome. Today we are doing a Connect and Q&A and live mini drum solo class where I am going to walk you through. I'm planning on one concept, but I might slip and give you two because I'm just so excited about these ideas. They're very simple concepts, but they open up a huge range of possibilities for your dance. And we're going to talk about them in relation to drum solos, but let me just say, these can be applied to everything and will change the way that you approach your dancing for the better. It will make things a little bit easier, a little bit calmer, and it'll allow you to also really express yourself in exciting ways. So I am super excited that you are all here. Hello from Brighton, UK. So glad you're here. No belly rolls today, but we're going to be talking about some drum solo stuff. So this should be a lot of fun. So let me know what you're up to. Let me know where you're logging in from, and let me know what you love best about drum solos. If you're a drum solo fan, yeah, I feel like drum solos are one of the most highly celebrated types of belly dance performances, right? And if you're not familiar with drum solos, I'm actually teaching one in my beginner class right now, and I gave them a little drum solo primer, right? Because some of the ladies were like, well, does that mean that just one drummer is playing? And I was like, well, it can be, but oftentimes it's multiple drummers. You'll have a couple drummers holding down the main rhythm, and then you'll have a solo drummer doing all these cool riffs on top. And we as dancers get to be that physical representation of the drum, which is really exciting, partially because the drum is so high energy and there's lots of opportunities to create great dynamic and do a lot of isolations, which we love as dancers. I think it's also exciting in some ways because you really only have one thing to listen to and one thing to use as your inspiration, which can be freeing in some ways because you don't have to make those decisions. But sometimes it can be a little nerve wracking because you're like, what do I do to that sound? Right. And what we're going to talk about today will really help to understand that it's a lot less about what you do and choosing the correct move, and it's all about how you do it and making sure that you are responding to the music and not just executing a set number of moves that you've been told to do if it's, say, a choreography, right? Let me know in the chat if you have ever performed a drum solo. And then let me know also if it was an improvised drum solo to live music. Was it a choreographed drum solo to recorded music? And how did it go? How did it go? I've been performing drum solos now for 26 years. I absolutely love them. I love to do them as choreographies, but I also love the opportunity to do a drum solo with a live percussionist where you are creating the drum solo and the music all at the same time. It definitely makes me break out into a sweat even before I've started dancing. but but it's really, really fun. Yes, Oriental Rose, I'm totally with you. Totally captivated by a good drum solo. I like the improvisational element and the free expression of it. Absolutely. Drum solos are one of the first things that drew me into belly dance and made me feel like this is something I want to do. I used to go to this great art house here in Houston when I was in college. On Tuesday nights, they had a show called Gothic belly dancing, and it wasn't really gothic, but it was like belly dance to mostly non-Arabic music. But there was one dancer who always did a drum solo in the middle of the show, and I was just floored. I thought it was just the coolest thing I had ever seen, and I was mesmerized by the precision and ease that she had as she did this. And I got the chance to dance with her many years later when I started dancing, and I was just like, this is so cool. I see you, KG. I love the drum solos, but I haven't done one in a while. You usually do improv to recorded music. That's fantastic. And an improvised drum solo is a lot of fun to recorded music or to live. To live music, it's incredibly exciting because you and the drummer are actually feeding off of each other if it's a good drummer. If they're a good drummer, if they're a drummer who cares about the dancer, you're feeding off of each other and creating something in the moment. I've definitely performed with a number of drummers who are just more interested in showing off their skills, and I'm lost over here on the side. That is not as fun. For sure. Awesome. Well, that's good that you all have some experience with drum solos and you enjoy them, because today I'm going to talk to you about some concepts that's less about giving you a new move for your drum solo and more about how can you use the moves you already know to effectively express the music in a drum solo so that it feels dynamic and alive and it doesn't feel like a recitation of moves. Yeah. And before we dive in, I did have a question. These are always like Q&As too. So if you have a question, post it in the chat about drum solos or otherwise. But I did have someone post in the Shimmy Society over on Facebook asking me how the belly dance evolution process is going. For those of you who don't know, I'm so excited because I am auditioning for Jelina's belly dance evolution project. This is the one where she kind of tours and travels to different cities and puts on a fully theatrical staged belly dance production. She's coming to San Antonio in July to do Alice in Wonderland. And I have been dying to do one of these shows with her forever because I think Jelena is just the coolest. And I love theater and the opportunity to like study under Jelena intensively for several days and then do something theatrical just like pushes all my buttons like in a good way. So she came to Houston last year, I think, but I wasn't here. I was out of town. It killed me. So when I saw she was coming to San Antonio, which is just down the road, I decided to audition. So to answer your question, how is it going? I've submitted all of my audition materials. I feel very good about it. I think auditions close on the 23rd, perhaps, of March, and I've been told it takes maybe kind of a month or so for them to do the casting. So I'll have more word soon. I suspect I'll get in. I auditioned for all the things. I was like, "Put me in the chorus, put me in the." I don't care. Like, I just wanna dance. Like, no ego here. I'll do any of the stuff. So, I'm really excited about that. I'll let you know what happens when I know what happens. So, okay, let's dive in to this drum solo concept. And like I said, if you've got questions about drum solos, please just post them in the chat. I am here to answer your questions and to give you some insight. This is what I see after 26 years of teaching belly dance and drum solos specifically. I see that dancers often get caught up in the moves. Like, what move am I doing? What move comes next? Which move is the best move? And I'm specifically like referring to, like beginner, intermediate level dancers. Advanced dancers usually get a handle on this, but like, intermediate level dancers approaching a drum solo, it's easy for it to become, I need to memorize all these steps and then put them in the right order. And I even see this in my classes sometimes where we get time, ready to perform and people are like, okay, I got it. I've got all the moves. And I'm like, yes. And getting all the moves right is like step one of 10, right? Once we have the moves right, then we can begin to play. And by moves right, I mean like if it's a choreography and we're all trying to do the same moves together. If you're doing a solo, there's no right moves. It's totally up to you, right? So, what I want to talk about today is how can we move beyond I did the moves and get to a place of I danced the drum solo. And I think this is something that a lot of dancers struggle with because people ask me all the time, like, I'm doing it, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel like it's just naturally emanating from my body. I feel like something's missing. I don't know. Have you ever been there? Like, let me know in the chat if you've ever been there where you're like, I did the moves, but it didn't really feel like that was where I wanted to like that wasn't the end result I was looking for, right? So today we're going to talk about one or maybe two ideas. And this is just one of many ideas in a toolkit that I'll tell you a little bit later. You have the opportunity to take like a free master class with me online. And then I'm releasing a brand new drum solo intensive that's going to teach you a drum solo with all of these ideas attached so that you can take your drum solos to another level and feel like you're really expressing yourself with them. So moving beyond the moves. That's what we're going to do right now. And I'll give you a little taster of what we're going to be doing in this online masterclass. So, the first thing I want to talk about here is the concept of breath. And this seems intuitive, like, yes, we breathe while we dance. But have you ever noticed how you breathe when you dance? Chances are you might breathe very shallowly or almost not at all. I've definitely been there where I'm like, I get off stage and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm kind of out of breath. And it's not just because I was dancing out there, right? So we're going to play with, I'm going to give you a tiny little combination, and you can use this combination or not because it's not about the moves. It's about the textures we're about to put onto these moves. Yeah. And what I want us to play with is the idea of breath versus the alternative, which is holding your breath, breathing very shallowly. And then can we take it beyond just I'm breathing well? And Can I breathe with the movements? Because when we breathe, number one, our brain relaxes. If you're ever feeling a little stage fright or feeling a little frantic, our body goes into fight or flight mode. When we breathe deeply in and out, it signals to our brain that there is no lion about to eat us, right? And we can relax and enjoy. So, what I'd like you to do, just take a second, take a nice deep breath in and just exhale nice and slow. And maybe do that one more time. Nice, deep, slow breath in and exhale. Nice and slow. I already feel a little calmer. Tension in the body has released a bit, right? And so now let's do a few little moves here. Let's just start with like a little figure eight. Yeah, I'll put music on in a second. But right now I just want you to like focus on doing this figure eight. And actually while we're here, I'm going to give you a bonus idea because we can work both of these at the same time. I want you to do this figure eight and breathe in and out, just like we've been doing, nice and deep. And maybe I'm going to breathe in with one and out with one. And how does that feel? Yeah. And now I'm going to invite you to hold your breath and do the move. Keep holding that breath. If you have to breathe, just make it shallow. Right? It may not look different, but it's going to feel different, right? Go back to breathing nice and deep. The first thing I actually feel that's different is my face changes, right? Which is an important concept of an important part of our dance as we dance, right? Like if I'm holding my breath, I get like this kind of strange face going on. And the minute I breathe, there's like this very natural smile that comes out. Yeah. And so that's a whole nother aspect that we're not going to talk about today, but it is in the free masterclass. So more on that in a second. Um, and so here's the little bonus. While we're talking about this, let's talk about muscular initiation. I like to group things into two general categories, but these aren't all encompassing, nor are they mutually exclusive. The idea of muscular based movements and skeletal based movements. Obviously, all our moves use our muscles and our skeleton, but this is what I mean. Let's go back to that figure eight. And then when I teach my beginner belly dancers figure eight, we start with our feet hip bone distance width apart. We keep our knees and our toes pointing forward, and we use our obliques to really drive this movement, right? So I think of this as a very muscular figure eight. I feel it in my obliques. I invite you to try this with me, right? I'm using my obliques. There's very little kind of shift in the weight in my feet. And I'm really using those muscles. Here's another example, like arm movements, right? I can do arm movements that are very floaty and weightless, or I can engage to create more muscularly intention movements like I'm pushing through water, right? These are textures that we want to use when we start doing drum solos, when we do anything, honestly, when we do anything. We want to use these textures because this is what takes our dancing from just the moves to a creative expression that feels good for us and our audience if we're dancing for an audience, right? So now let's take that figure eight from muscular, right? My feet are right underneath me. I'm really engaging in those obliques. And now I invite you to widen your stance just a little bit and allow the weight to shift side to side. I'm going to call this a more skeletal movement. Our muscles are working, right? Or else we would just be a pile of bones on the floor. Our muscles are working, but I'm thinking about my skeleton and my weight shift creating more of this movement. This is kind of what I was doing when I was breathing in and out, right? So the idea of allowing this to be slightly more skeletal, slightly more weight shift, right? And in a drum solo, we are going to use both. There's not like a one or the other. It's not one is better than the other, or you only use muscular movements in a drum solo because it's all isolation, right? We do a lot of isolation, but it's not only that. And that contrast comes through to your audience and it gives your movement and your dance texture and nuance, right? And I think this is super important. So let's talk about one other idea or one other movement with this muscular versus skeletal, because this will be useful in our little convo that we're about to do. Yeah. Let's talk about some hip bumps, some weight shift hip bumps. So I'm talking about this. I'm standing in this position and I'm bumping that back hip. My foot is here on the ball. I've got my heel lifted. I'm bumping this hip. So first I'm doing this variation, which feels to me slightly more skeletal. Can you see how I'm shifting my weight? Front foot, back foot. I'm using my knee. This lift is gentle, right? And I'm going bump back, right? Or in our combo, we're going to do two of them, back and back. Yeah, back and back. And I'm letting this be, it's still an accent, right? My hip is still going up and up, but it is very much utilizing that shift in weight and it gives it a certain textural quality because of it, right? Now, what if I engage that glute, right? So that the glute that is bumping, if I squeeze and squeeze, right? Now I'm getting a much sharper movement. Boom and boom. I'm going to, if you have hip coins on, yes, coins on your scarf, they're going to make more noise. Boom and boom, and it's a sharper feeling, right? Now, what you choose in the moment is highly going to depend on the music, right? Especially in a drum solo, but in all of belly dance, because we are the physical representation of the music. What you choose to dance needs to be informed by the music, right? Which is why there's actually one more thing that we'll talk about in a second. And then we're going to dance, I promise you. Yeah. So, muscular versus skeletal and breath, right? So let me show you this little combo because I want you to start playing with this. I'm going to give you ways to play with it, and then I'm going to invite you to make it your own and play with the ideas as you'd like to see it. Yeah, and if you have any questions about any of this, post in the chat. I'm watching and I'm here for your questions all of the time. Okay, so the combo we're going to do, and I'm just going to do it facing you because whatever side you do it on is fine. We're going to do a little step touch, step touch. I'm going to take that leg that's extended. I'm going to figure eight onto it. And then I'm going to use the back leg to bump and bump. Then I'm going to walk backwards. That way I don't run out of room. Step touch. Step touch. This is it. Yeah. Figure eight on that other side. And then bump and bump on the back hip, right? This is not about the moves. I'm not teaching you like some brand spanking new crazy combo. Like it's not about bigger moves. It's not about faster shimmies. It's not about more complex dancing. It's about how you respond to the music. So I want to keep the dancing really simple, like simpler today. Yeah. Yay. Oh, this makes me so happy. I love dancing with you. Thank you. That's awesome. All right. So we're not going complex. We are talking about nuance. Whatever you do on that touch, I'll probably do a little hip lift. It's dancer's choice, right? You lift, figure eight, bump and bump. You can keep going forward if you've got space, or you can go back, which is what I'll do. Figure eight, bump and bump. Arms are dancer's choice, and we'll kind of play with that, and we'll add a little bit of emotion and theatricality that way. So that's all we got, right? That's all we've got so far. Yeah, Bonnie, the contrast is what it's all about, right? The contrast is what it's all about. And I always say, especially like your audience doesn't know the difference between like an Ami and a triple sow cow, right? They really don't. But like they'll be like, ooh, that was like so soft and smooth. Oh, that was really big and exciting. And not only will that be exciting to them, but it'll be exciting to for us internally as dancers, right? It's always cool to be with you too, Laura. Thank you for coming and dancing with me. I love this. All right. So let's look at this idea. Let me make sure there's nothing more I wanted to say before okay. The one other, this is a bonus. This is a bonus, but this is like the most important thing. I would say the most important thing beyond like if you're dancing with a whole bunch of people, making sure you're all doing the same move, right? But especially as a soloist, the most important thing, and I think the thing that I see dancers get tied up in their head about so much with drum solos is like thinking about what comes next. So much so that you're no longer responding to the music in the moment. Yes, we do a lot of choreography in Western dance these days. I love choreography. There's nothing wrong with it, right? But when it starts to look like choreography, when it looks really pre-planned, like I've practiced this dance for 12 weeks and now I will dance it for you exactly as I practiced it, that's when I'm kind of like, kind of suck the life out of it, right? So we're going to do this really simple combo, right? But I want you to imagine it's just emanating out of your body when the music comes on, right? The music is also simple. It's fairly repetitive. We're not going to be doing like lots of heavy hitting. This is more about playing with the textures, right? But I don't ever want you to anticipate. And I always say when I was in Egypt, You never want to arrive early to the party. You have to arrive really late and you're still the first one there. Yeah. So don't arrive early to this party because you don't know what's coming next, right? You're making it up on the spot. So don't arrive early to the party. I'm going to put on some music and I'm going to need your help, please, to tell me if the volume is good. It looks like it could be a little bit too high, but it's hard for me to tell on this end. This is Ziller Machine by Miss Thea from her album Ziller Vox. I think she just came out with a new album. I need to check it out. If you enjoy this kind of music, she's fantastic. She is a belly dancer and a flute player, and she creates fantastic music. You can find her on Bandcamp at Miss Thea. Let's see. Okay, so let me know. I'm looking here in the chat. Great. Thank you, Bonnie. Awesome. I can never set these sounds until you all tell me how it works. Fantastic. So this is our combo. Step, touch, figure 8, bump and bump. Yeah. And if you're like, it's going too fast, just do it half time. Yeah. This is not about the moves or the speed. This is about our texture, right? So let's just do it a couple times. Let's just mark it. We do step, touch, figure 8, bump and bump. Step, touch. Yeah. So I'm marking it. There's no texture here. No texture. Right? So what if I'm going to talk about breath? I'm going to do breath first. I'm going to breathe in on the first 4 counts, and I'm going to breathe out on the second 4 counts. If that feels comfortable to you, you can do the same. Yeah, I'm thinking breathe in, breathe out. And I'm doing again, breathe in, breathe out. The arms are dancer's choice. If you want to do arms, or you can just keep them here in a second. Ooh, there's something about breathing out on that figure 8. Boom and boom. Step. I'm breathing in, breathing out. Yeah? Or how do you want to breathe? Now breathe the way you want to breathe as long as you're breathing, right? Breathe and be conscious about your breathing, right? Or if you want to experiment with breathing very shallowly, what happens to your dancing? Yeah? We're going to do one more like that. Play with your breath. Yeah, now I want you to play with muscular versus skeletal. Yeah, let's just do the whole thing one way, and then we'll try the whole thing the other way, and then we'll mix it up, yeah? So I'm going to do skeletal first. I'm going to think about just moving my body through space with my weight and not contracting lots of muscles to create extra isolation. Yeah, so I'm thinking skeletal. Yeah, this is nice and easy. Ooh, this feels like it would work well with my breathing. Yeah, so you can layer the two ideas if you want. So this is feeling very light, airy, a little bouncy, right? Because I'm not doing a lot of glute contraction on those lifts, right? Arms are dancer's choice. You can keep them neutral. Yeah, let's do one more like that, and then I'm going to invite you to make the whole thing muscular. So what if I do muscle, 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 yeah? What happens? It's very different. Number one, I feel my quads because I worked out this morning, and now they're like, don't do this. You're already tired. Yeah. Very different. Yeah. Bam, bam, bam. Hit. Ooh, let's do it one more time. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam. That's funny. Oh yeah. Did you feel that? I felt that in my quads. Let's take those two ideas and mix them up. I am going to do the first 4 counts more skeletal with more breath. I'm going to breathe the whole time. And then I'm going to keep the bam, bam, bam. I was kind of liking it. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Let's play with that. So I'm going skeletal, muscular, skeletal, muscular. When I do muscular, I bend my knees a lot for some reason. I'm going. Yeah. I'm going to do it one more like that, and then I'm going to try to reverse it. Let's see what happens. What if I do muscular, smooth, muscular, smooth. Are you breathing? Oh, wait, I totally messed it up. Here we go. Here it goes. Muscular, skeletal. Yeah. All right. One more idea. The idea of responding to the music. Right now, I was honestly just kind of using the music as timing. And there's some good drumming going on in there. So it gave me something to dance to, which is nice. Now, I let you loose in the sandbox. Yeah. If you want to keep using that combo, cool. If you're like, I'm done with that, let's do something different, feel free to play. And this music is fairly repetitive, so there's nothing too crazy going on. But I want you to 100% tune into the music. I'm going to stop talking so that you can hear it. And I want you to just tune into the music and respond. What are you dancing to? This is what I ask all the time of dancers. And the only wrong answer is, I don't know. Yeah? So just listen. What are you dancing to? I want to dance to just the zills. One more. And I'm going to pause the music. Ooh, that was fun. It amazes me, and it brings me back actually to my time in Egypt. It amazes me. So we didn't do like any moves that were not belly dance 101, right? It was belly dance 101, step touches, some figure eights, right? But because you're playing with texture, you're playing with nuance, you're playing with muscular initiation, you're changing things up and creating dynamics. I had a lot of fun doing it. You looked awesome. I'm assuming you looked awesome. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I felt like it wasn't boring or uninteresting. Oh, I love your comment, Laura. The muscular movements make you one with the music. Bingo, and that's what we're aiming to do. And now if you're like, "Ooh, that muscular movements, that makes me feel like I'm really inside the music." That's your choice. Someone else might be like, "Oh, this part makes me feel a little bit more lighter area, more skeletal." That's your choice, right? They're very often like not like there it's very infrequent that there are wrong choices. You just have to make your choice with confidence and know what are you dancing to, right? Like when I started playing at the end and I was listening to the music, I was like, ooh, there was like a cool zill part that was like chick, chicka, chick, chicka, chick, chicka, chick, chicka, chicka, chick. I was like, ooh, can I dance to just that? Right? What are you dancing to? What does it sound like? And how does it make you want to move? That little chick, chicky, chick, chicky, chick, isn't going to make me do this, right? I'm like, chick, chicky, chick, chicky, chick, chicky, chick. And, because I'm listening to it and I'm responding as a human being, right? When people come watch you dance, they want to see a human being dance, no robots. We've got enough AI, right? We want to see a human being interpret that music. Yes, and you're totally right. Using repetitive drum beats makes it easier to learn, right? I was like, I don't want to teach you a drum solo where we need to like memorize the dooms and the techs and the snaps, right? Let's just talk about the texture because the texture is everything. And here's the honest truth. I have watched so many drum solos in my time, so many performances of drum solos. I love drum solos. I have watched beginner dancers get up on stage with the 101 vocabulary and nail a drum solo because they're responding to the music with their basic level moves. They're creating some texture, they're enjoying it, they're having fun, and I could watch it all day long. And then I've also watched really high level dancers come and technique the heck out of it and do some stuff that I'm like, "Whoa, that looks really hard." But am I like moved by the drum solo? No, it's like a cool technique showcase. But it doesn't have the same nuance. It doesn't have the same emotive heart. It doesn't have the same breath. I don't smile along with them, right? So if you've ever felt like you don't have enough moves or have enough experience or have enough whatever, right? Shimmy power to do a good drum solo, you're wrong because it's not about having 1,000 fancy moves. It's about taking the moves you already know and texturizing them and playing with them and enjoying them in a way that is going to work with the music, right? And what you've done here is exactly that. If you like this idea, I go into several more concepts, including the move before the move, including more about how do we respond to the music, including theatricality, which is kind of my favorite, in a free masterclass that is available for you to watch online at any time before March 30th. So I have a link in the description for this video. Just click on that and you can sign up for the free masterclass. It's an hour-long masterclass that'll teach you a slightly different, very simple combo because it's not about the combo, so that you can layer these ideas on it. I'm telling you, once you start to look at drum solos this way, it's going to change the way you approach them. You're not going to be so worried about like, what do I do now? Let me put a really cool move or else people are going to be bored. No, 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 no. Like, how do you want it to feel for you and for the audience? Right. And so that is going to be huge. So definitely check out that masterclass, and that's going to give you more ideas to play with. It's going to give you a different short little easy combo to play with. And then check out my new drum solo choreography intensive. You'll get information for it when you sign up for that masterclass. It's called The Art of the Drum Solo from Steps to Stage Ready. And it's going to teach you an entire 4-minute drum solo choreography. That's like an intermediate level choreography. And we will learn the steps, and that's step 1. And then we will play with this texture, nuance, muscular initiation, breath, listening to the music, the move before the move. We'll play with ideas of, theatricality and texturizing the move so that, like, even if you kind of just stand there and do a step touch, it's going to be really beautiful to watch, right? Because it can be. It can be. So that's what I've got for y'all. Be sure to check out the link in the description of this video so that you can check out that free masterclass that's available now through the 30th. So you've got 10 days to access it. It's a 1 hour long, so you could, download it now and watch it today. And I think you're really going to enjoy that because it empowers you to know that what you have is already enough and what you have is beautiful, and you can take it and do amazing things with it when you start to think about it this way. Thank you so much, y'all, for being here. It was super fun to dance with you. I hope to see you inside that free masterclass. Be sure to check it out, and I hope to share the dance floor with you soon. I see this Oriental Rose. What are you dancing to? I love it. When you're doing the improvisational bit, you're attracted to the top end of the drum. I love it. For some reason, this means I'm doing a lot of head and neck slides. Yeah, that like higher end of the drum makes you want to dance a little higher in the body. That's brilliant. I love it, right? If you can identify what you're dancing to, then you can identify how it makes you feel. And then whatever movement you choose, texturize it to fit. Yeah. And so you've got some ideas about how you can do that right here today. And I'll give you lots more inside that masterclass and then inside that drum solo choreography intensive. I can't wait to dance with you all then. All right, take care. Bye for now. Bye, friends. See you later.